Hello, this is Lisa Russick.
And this is Donna Murphy.
And this is the podcast We're All Psychic. How are you doing, Donna?
I am doing wonderfully well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So listeners and watchers, this is a video podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Donna's back, of course, for the millionth time. And you all know Donna. She's our favorite. And we are going to kind of follow up on a podcast we did a couple of years ago. But first, Donna, do you still think we're all psychic?
I absolutely do still think we are all psychic.
Still think it. I still think it too. So that's out of the way. So we're going to talk about the self-fulfilling prophecies, listeners and watchers. And in the first podcast about 2 years ago, Misty was with us, and we talked about some practical situations of the self-fulfilling prophecy and what we would do and some of our own experiences with that. So Donna, do you want to explain to the listeners who may not have heard that podcast, what exactly a self-fulfilling prophecy might be, or just like that is a definition of it, random? You're good at that.
A self-fulfilling prophecy is when you take something that's essentially theoretical, right? I mean, it could be true, but it could just as easily not be true, or could come to pass, might not come to pass. But by planting the seed of its possibility, that then a person knowing that, especially if they didn't know about it before or weren't aware of it before, kind of takes that and aligns to it in such a way that reality conforms, basically, and either consciously or unconsciously actually makes it come true. It takes something that's theoretical or predicted and makes it come true because of the person's awareness of it, that they actually participate in its manifestation. Now, if it's a positive thing, that's terrific.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if it's not so positive, it can really work.
Yeah. If you're Oedipus's father, you're not too lucky.
There you go. And mythology is both ancient mythology and even more modern mythologies are filled with the idea that a predicted event or a predicted outcome was absolute, was meant to be, meant to happen. And yes, those things all aligned to come true.
Yes. So listeners, like if you don't know the story of Oedipus, is this Greek? It's Greek, right? Donna,
Mm-hmm.
Greek. So Oedipus was a prophecy was spoken of him when he was born that he would kill his father and marry his mother. And because of that, his father sent him away to somewhere like lost in the woods and just got rid of him. He didn't kill him though. And of course, in the end, I don't remember the whole fleshed out story, but Oedipus didn't know he killed his father when he killed him, and he did marry his mother. Mm-hmm. But it is, it's really fun to read the story of how it gets there, because it's just, they know of it, right? I don't think Oedipus knows of it, but the father knows of the prophecy. The mother,
somebody important to the whole
father and the mother, I think both know it.
Yeah. And then there's other times when, for a more modern mythological example, with Harry Potter, Voldemort, there, right?
One cannot live while the other survives, and they all have this prophecy. So Voldemort targets Harry Potter because of this prophecy, right?
Right, exactly. But Harry's also aware of it. Obviously, he's just a kid. I mean, he grows up, and as he grows up, he begins to realize what that really means.
Yeah.
But he's actually aware of it.
He is, yes.
Aware of what
he gets aware of it too. Yes, right. Yeah.
So yeah, somebody who's instrumental in all the workings of the prophecy itself has to know about it. If there's kind of like the old,
there's no point if there's no self-fulfilling.
No one knows. Yeah. If no one knows, there's no way for it to self-fulfill. Would it maybe still happen anyway? It might very well, but then the self-fulfilling part kind of goes away.
And that's just a prophecy that happens.
And it's just prophecy. And again, it might still manifest, it might not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the idea of our participation, and I think that's the thing about the self-fulfilling prophecy that I find fascinating, is that especially when it's something we're aware of, then really we are co-creating our reality very consciously, even if some of it is subconscious.
Yeah.
We also have enough conscious awareness that we're actually co-creating what our destiny is.
Exactly. I love that. And so many people, I don't think, feel like they are in control of controlling their destiny or any control of their destiny. They had maybe, for example, I did think I knew where my life was going, say at 38. I knew I was going to, not exactly where I was going or anything, but I figured married to this person, watch these kids grow up, do this, die. But it didn't work out that way. And I'm happier. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't happy, because that's why it didn't work out that way. In the listeners and watchers, in the first podcast we did 2 years ago, I did talk about my self-fulfilling prophecy about that divorce. I did have one, and it was fulfilled by me because I divorced him. But it was there were a bunch of events leading up to that. I had been given a prophecy, though, by a reader who told me my husband would die at 46, but he didn't die. We got divorced. Yeah. So in a way, that is a death, Yeah. The death of a way of life. So there's another one I really like to think about. One of my favorites is Star Wars. Star Wars, the self-fulfilling prophecy. Vader knew that if his kids survived, if you're not familiar with Star Wars, sorry, go watch it. All of it right now. Everything. Everything.
But at least the first 3 movies.
There's tons of self-fulfilling prophecies in Star Wars. I mean, it's full of it. But the main one being, that Luke would either rule the galaxy with Vader or destroy Vader, or his son would. It was like they wanted him to join. The bad guys wanted him to join. Yeah. Vader did a self-fulfilling prophecy by telling the Emperor, you should bring him on board. But Vader really intended to throw the Emperor over and bring Luke into his side and them rule the galaxy. Yeah. So that was his idea of fulfilling his prophecy of his side of it. And he was not going to let his son overthrow him. He was going to bring him in. That's why he comes in and tries to change the prophecy. And thereby Luke gets that chance with Vader wanting, because Vader couldn't give up the love of his son and Padme. So he wants him to rule the galaxy with him, of course. And the Emperor's a dick. So who wouldn't want to overthrow him? Every Sith is a dick, except for Vader. But Vader's a dick until he changes into a nice guy. I don't know why we call mean people dicks.
It's really
that's just fair. An aside. We're not going to go too deep with that.
Really fair. Well, and that's the other thing, too. I mean, the idea of, is a self-fulfilling prophecy still going to automatically, come to pass? Is that what's going to be the outcome? Is that what's going to, and then that brings up, I would say then there's still the underlying theme or the underlying idea of our free will, right?
Yeah.
It's like, for example, Luke, he could have gone either way.
Yeah. Well, the main part.
Onto the dark side.
When I think of Luke, I think where he made his decision was when he was leaving Dagobah, when he was getting his training. His training wasn't done, but his friends were more important. And the prophecy there wasn't really a prophecy, but old Ben and Yoda knew that he was not ready. Yeah, very low chance of working this out. He was going to turn. They didn't have any faith in him, and he didn't do. Yeah,
that he wouldn't be strong enough or well-versed enough to be able to resist the temptation to go to the dark side.
Exactly. But Luke was just so good. And he loved his father so much that love conquers all. And the Emperor went into a bottomless pit. And, self-fulfiling prophecies are kind of like bottomless pits in Star Wars. You never know what's going to come out of them again. Lots of people I had a neighbor tell me this. Oh, they all go down bottomless pits in Star Wars. So you don't know. They do sometimes survive those bottomless pits. The Emperor did. Luke did. I think Han Solo did at one point. And then at one point he did not. And when he died, he fell into a bottomless pit.
Yes.
He might be alive. The Emperor was.
I guess they reserved just enough, doubt that maybe, he'd be able to, kind of pop back into the picture.
I know that's a little off topic, but I do love to talk about Star Wars. But there are a lot of prophecy and a lot of spirituality stuff in Star Wars that correlate to a lot of what I believe in, which is kind of weird. That's off the side too. But Another one I was thinking of was Terminator movie. If you've seen those, listeners and watchers, the first one, John Connor, or the second, was it the second one where the prophecy was really the big deal, or was the first one? Because what I remember the self-fulfilling prophecy being there was in the first one, he goes back in time to keep her from being killed, and then they conceive.
Yes.
Connor. And John Connor's the one who saves the world. But there was something that he was John Connor in the future told him, because he'd already been saving the world, told this guy to go back and impregnate his mother. But he didn't plan that, but he knew that would happen.
Make sure that it happened.
Yeah, make sure that it happened. So it's all that's kind
and again, when you add the dimension of time travel to self-fulfilling, well, yeah, but it also gets really confusing.
It does.
Because it's like it starts to, it's like the snake eating its tail.
Yeah, Ouroboros, yeah.
Pretty soon you don't know anymore where one thing starts and the other thing ends. Because clearly, if he's in the future saying, go back and make sure that this happens so I can be here in this future. Well, you're already in this future. So then it did already happen. So why do you have to go back and intervene? I mean, pretty soon my head explodes and it's like, just give me some more popcorn.
You know who does that the best? Do you know who explains this the best is Bill and Ted. Excellent Adventure. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure does it, but Bill and Ted's, the second one, really flows into that.
Yes, yes.
And that's, I love Bill and Ted. They go into every scenario back and forth, trying to fix things. It's just great. Yeah. I loved it. Because they had to save the princesses, I think. I don't know. I just remember that at the end of the first one. I don't know. But there's so many movies that have the self-fulfilling prophecy theme. Yeah. Do you have anything in your life that you've thought of since that podcast that might have been a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Oh, gosh.
Because in that podcast, I think the example you used in that first podcast was something with a client where it was a self-fulfilling thing. Like, I can't remember exactly your exact... Yeah.
Well, with clients, I will say this is why I'm really, really careful in how I deliver news in a reading, or deliver information in a reading, especially about a potential future event. Because on the one hand, no, I do not want to blow pink smoke and, farting unicorns, out there and go, yeah, everything's fabulously wonderful and, gorgeous and beautiful. Because that's not necessarily true. On the other hand, I don't want to focus so much on the negative that they latch onto the negative and go, well, if it's going to go one way or the other, I know with my luck, it's going to be the bad thing. And then they sort of, especially if they really attach to that, then, often what we believe is what happens, because whether we realize it consciously or not, we set things up to have them come out the way we believe that they will.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a fine line to walk.
Yes. I'm sorry. Did you have an example though?
Yeah, no, I honestly wish I could think of something right.
I just thought of something that this just popped into my head. I sometimes I watch those pick-a-cards, on YouTube or on Instagram or on TikTok or something. I love pick-a-cards. I do them too. Yeah. Fun, And I was watching one and the pick-a-card was like, okay, Taurus, I'm a Taurus. It was for Tauruses and their love life. They're like, you love this person and there's no chance they love you. They do not love you. No matter what, Taurus, this person does not love you. If this is resonating, stay here. And I was like, okay, I'll listen. So I listened to it and she's saying all through the video, you're going to make the move maybe. And I'm just telling you, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. And at the end of the time of her saying, this is not ever going to work out, she says, and if any of you still do it, you're master manifestors. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And that really cracked me up, And I was like, that's a good point. And I still did what I was going to do, which is what I watched the video for. And I haven't had the solution yet, but we'll see. So far, things are okay. But that made me think of that the reader, even herself, I didn't see her face. It was just her hands with the cards, but she was like, this is, you're going to get it if you're going to go after it anyway, probably because you're a manifestor or you're stubborn or something. She did say you could be stubborn.
Which being a Taurus is par for the course. So
it is par for the course. We are very stubborn.
Stubborn is my middle name.
Stubborn. Isn't that sexy? Don't you want me to be stubborn with you? I have a self-fulfilling prophecy that nobody wants me to be stubborn with them ever in my life, in the future, and in the past.
A little bit. Just bend a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't have anything else really that I'm thinking of in this, except it's an archetypal, it's a story that is told all through history,
Yes.
self-fulfilling prophecy that we know of in history. So why? It means that people believe in prophecy.
I think that's one thing. And I think there's that tension always between free will and fate.
Yes.
Are there certain things that are just absolute? They're written in stone, no matter what, that's what's going to happen. That's the outcome. And then how much, if any, free will affects that or interacts with that or creates that or co-creates that. And I think that tension, because I don't think anybody, at least not to my knowledge or satisfaction, has ever explained to me fully. I know for one thing, it isn't just one or just the other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not absolute that everything is fated and we're just like little robots, like we've been wound up and set off on our little course right through the world.
I mean, I feel when I make a decision that I wouldn't normally make, and I'm thinking it through, I'm feeling it through, and I'm changing my life and perspective and situation by taking an action that I just thought up. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to believe that that's set in stone.
That it's entirely predetermined.
Entirely, yes.
So I don't think that there's entirely predetermination.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I do think that there are some things that aren't necessarily going to be entirely a result of free will. Yes. We would still need to exercise our free will in the sense that we would still need to take action to get to where we're going. But I don't think all of it is self-determined or just an act of pure will. But where that or how that fits together, how that all kind of dovetails and
I think it might be different for every situation, but there is a common thread there for that tension. I like that word you use, tension between the free will and the predestination. Because I know there have been some things in my life that felt like this was supposed to happen.
It was just supposed to
meet this person. I was supposed to be this person's sister. I was supposed to be this person's friend. I was supposed to be this person's whatever. My stepson.
This happened to me so that this next thing could happen to me.
Yes, that too.
If this thing hadn't happened for me, I couldn't have gotten to where that next thing was.
Yes.
And we don't necessarily see that line. We don't necessarily connect the dots while it's all happening. We're just experiencing it.
Yeah.
But it's that I find really fascinating.
I do too. That's philosophy that we could go for hours on.
Yeah. And again, I think it's absolutely one or the other. No, I know there's some interaction or there's some interplay. Are there some things that maybe are predetermined, and maybe that predetermination isn't even external to us. Maybe it's predetermined because if we entered this world with a soul contract,
soul contract. If you don't know what a soul contract is, it's basically saying you become reincarnation. You come into a life with a plan, and you want to do it. Your soul does. You might not be aware of it. Some people think that we are imprisoned not to know of our destinies. Some people say that we have lost that information. Not prisoners or anything, but we've lost the access like we used to a long time ago, years, billions, maybe hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
We knew cultures, we knew how to work with our psychic energy, and there were matriarchal societies that supposedly rose up, and a lot of different times in mythology, and it's hard to believe that mythology just came out of nowhere. And we have proof of like Lemuria possibly being a place now, in the Pacific Ocean. I've read about that just recently.
And the idea that there are common themes throughout human history.
Yeah.
Yes. That can't possibly be an accident.
You're right.
Different cultures at different times in different parts of the world under different circumstances. And yet there are certain archetypes, like you mentioned, and certain patterns that emerge, that are very consistent across time, culture, what have you, and that cannot possibly be accidental. There's something in the human experience that creates that or resonates with that or finds an awareness of that as part of their life experience.
Right. I think I feel like that's kind of happening to me now, where I realize I have more. It's throughout my life. It's been kind of an uphill battle to realize how much that I do have control in my life, power over my life in any way whatsoever. And I can find safety within myself. I've never found a safe place. And I have to find it within. But I want like this place feels safe, like the place I live in. I mean, physical security, emotional security, mental security, money security, just basic needs met. Emotional security is really the big one I need. And I have to find it within, but I also never have found it from anyone else. I've looked. No one's given it to me. So I have to, it's like, I don't have to go after that if I don't want to. I can just be stuck in pity on myself and I'm sick and I'm just going to not do anything anymore. I could do that, because I do have a lot of illness issues, but I don't want to do that. And it's hard sometimes to really keep going when it feels like nothing's going your way, even if you're thinking positively and manifesting your biggest hopes and dreams, and for some reason nothing's happening. Sometimes that happens too. Like you can put all your energy into it, but why not? Why not? That's that co-creation thing. I think it's just not meant sometimes.
Or it's not yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that's a good one. Not yet.
Yeah. Sometimes it's to reorient, right? To choose a different direction. But sometimes it's like, it's just not yet.
Good point. Yeah. And, not yet can span lifetimes,
I certainly like to hope that it won't be lifetimes before certain things happen. But
I don't want to go through first grade again.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember sitting at my desk in first grade. Speaking of self-fulfilling prophecies, I was in first grade and it was about 5 to 3 and I was going to get out at 3. And I was like, man, it's the first day of first grade and I've got like 18 years of school. Yeah. I just looked at that clock and I just watched it and counted the seconds and I was 5 minutes and I had 18 years of school. And I was like, well, I guess I have to do it. And I did. So it's kind of a
you got through it.
It's a little girl self-fulfilling prophecy, but I did have that realization and it sucked that I would be in school because I didn't like school. I liked learning, but I didn't like the social aspect that much. I didn't fit in. No. Weird. I wasn't self-conscious until I was older, but I still didn't like, I don't know. I just remember a lot of stuff from early childhood and we don't know what we're doing a lot of times as kids, hurting each other and stuff like that. And little kids throwing rocks and shit like that. Well, in my neighborhood, the kids were always picking on me and my brother always had to come take care, come save my day.
Glad he did.
He did.
But the fact that it was necessary is not.
Yeah. Well, it was just the 80s. I mean, kids were just assholes in the 80s because they were just running around free in neighborhoods. That's how I remember it.
Playing free range children.
Yeah. I mean, all those like Stranger Things and all those 80s kids shows coming out. Kids were really like that, I mean, they were smart asses and we were, and we didn't have much to do. So what else, we hung out and talked shit. And bonded and grew great friendships and phone calls. You remember the phone calls when we were?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, I'm even older than you. So by the 80s, I was actually an adult.
Yeah.
For me, late 60s into the 70s, but very much the same thing.
Yes.
We did not have a lot of structured activity. We certainly had no internet. We had, We had none of that.
Yeah. Nothing to entertain ourselves.
And we were just basically turned loose on an unsuspecting world. We were expected to go out and deal, right? I mean, whether that's make our own fun, make our own friends, work out our differences. If friendships, if we got in an argument or this one didn't like that one or whatever, parents did not get terribly involved in any of that.
No.
I mean, look, I know that we
didn't raise ourselves, but our parents let us.
They just let us be. I mean,
and
And luckily, at least in my experience, there was never anybody where things were getting so out of hand. I mean, that
me too. I would say
that there really needed to be adult intervention.
Yeah, it was never like that.
But no, kids got pissed at each other and called each other names.
Yeah, and maybe threw a rock.
Made up, and you throw a rock or
tail.
Yeah, or
That's what we did. We had a creek with the cattails growing out of them. So when we were fighting and we were really pissed, we'd get the cattails and hit each other with them. They blow up, and then we'd be happy. Kids are
so we were kind of left to work it out for ourselves, and because these were small scale things that were age appropriate. Again, adult intervention was not required.
Exactly. You're so right. You're so right.
And so in that respect, we were fortunate. Because I do think it gives you some life skills that are pretty important. Yeah,
there were. But there was a lot of social pressures that you can't hide from without, back then you had to like either suffer them or deal with them, and work it out.
But you didn't have, I think the other difference is too, that because we were interacting real time, we were not interacting virtually. You didn't have the anonymity, or the illusion of anonymity, that you have when you're dealing through screens or phones or whatever. Right? I mean, this was real in your face. This was another,
and it's in the moment. It's not recorded.
Right? It's real time, real interaction, face to face, eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah.
Sometimes this,
right in your energetic face.
In your face.
In your energetic. This is like kind of what I want to ask you. This is kind of self-prophecy when you were a kid about that age, and I'll do this too. But did you have an idea of what your life would be like?
Absolutely. I did.
What was it?
It's very different than what I expected. I certainly expected to marry and have children. And while I did marry briefly and twice, I did not have children of my own. I was a stepmom for my second marriage for a while. I think I thought that I was going to have a very conventional life.
I did too.
And I didn't.
I didn't think I'd have kids, but I did think I'd have.
Yeah, no, I thought I really did think I would have children.
Yeah.
And I didn't. But but also at the same time, I think I thought that maybe it wouldn't be entirely conventional, at least maybe as far as what I did for a living. That actually did turn out to be true. So certain things, yes, certain things, no, but still not exactly the way I pictured it.
Anything, did you prophesy anything that came true for you, where you are right now or anywhere in your life that happened? And make it happen kind of through manifestation with that self-prophecy?
Well, again, manifestation work, at least conscious manifestation work. I've certainly had the experience prior, to now in my younger years.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I knew that that's what it was.
Yes.
Not sure I knew what I wouldn't have known to call it that.
I wouldn't have either. I'd be like, I want I'm going to try to get it. That's how I would think of it. Yeah. not as a word like manifestation where that's a loaded word. There's a lot to it. I'm going to do it.
That's where beginner's mind, I think, can be really helpful, because before you know all this theory and all these supposed, proper procedures and stuff.
Yeah.
And to me, it would be as simple as, this is what I really, I can see myself in this. This is what I really want.
Right.
I see myself doing this, having this, wearing this, whatever it might be. And because you don't have a lot of clutter, it was like, yes, I saw it, and there it is.
Yeah.
So whether that was, maybe getting a job or even a certain kind of outfit, right?
Yeah.
Buying a certain kind of clothes or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is small in the vast scheme of things, but
it's still the same thing.
But it is, and the idea that it was actually simpler because it was so it was uncomplicated. It was uncluttered.
Not other people involved. Yeah.
And not about other people. Because once you start getting into interactions with other people,
yeah, they have their free will.
They have free will too,
and
they have
their self-fulfilling prophecies that they're working on.
Right, exactly. So the idea of fixating on another person is a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
But as far as for myself, yeah, I would say. Yeah, and that was, again, it might have been smaller stuff, but it was simpler, and yeah, I mean, it worked.
It does work, and
the expectation, I think the expectation too. I think another aspect of self-fulfilling prophecy sometimes is because you're not the one making the prophecy.
Yes,
which means it's someone else's expectation.
Yeah. And so the thing we talked about before the podcast, listeners and watchers, was we were talking about like people who give say a reader who's maybe not as ethical, or they just scare you with a prophecy. And some people can be scared by that. And maybe this person that they spoke to didn't know what they were talking about, And so this person carries this fearful expectation or that this prophecy that they will die a spinster or whatever if they don't something or whatever.
Right. That they're never going to have, let's say, a long-term relationship.
Yeah. And
they're not going to
because of karmic drama in the family and all that. And no, I mean, you can change, you can hear that. Anyone can hear that and say, oh my God. Or we can hear it and be like, well, I'm going to analyze this and look at my life and see if this is anything I can use.
Right.
Instead of like, this person told me the truth. You believe yourself first is what I think,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And to me, anything that hasn't happened yet, there's always going to be ways that you can have some influence. You could either change it entirely. Sometimes you can't change it entirely, but even if you can't change it entirely, your awareness of it and your approach to how you're going to deal with it can actually still keep you very much active.
Yeah.
Proactive in a resolution, even if it's something that's not your preference.
I love that. Yeah, man, that's a really good way of putting that. I love you, Donna.
I love you too.
Just perfect. And with that, I would love to say thank you to our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app and website. Everclear.com is the website. And it's called Everclear Advice App in the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. And you can get advice from psychics and empaths to get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And Donna and I are both on there. I'm under Lisa Russick, and Donna is under Maria M. Maria M. Not Miriam.
Maria
M. So I'll put in your website's destinytarot.com.
Yes.
I'll put that in the description too. Anything else going on in your life?
That's about it. Just trying to stay cool. It's really hot here.
It's hot. And my self-fulfilling prophecy is, I'm going to make a prophecy today and see if it gets self-fulfilled. You do that too. I'm going to have to think about this for a second.
Yeah, me too. Oh, God.
I'm going to prophesy for you and you prophesy for me.
Okay.
And make it positive, please.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to prophesy, Donna. I'm going to ask some guides' help here. Sam says in 2 years' time, Donna will move to a different place and she will be in love and she'll be writing books. That's what he says.
Okay.
We'll see 3 years. See you in 3 years, listeners. Oh, you got to go next, Donna.
Okay. And you, Lisa, is going to be, living in the same place long term. And I think it's the place where you are right now. So you won't be moving again anytime soon. I'm not going to say you're never going to move again, but you're not going to move anytime soon. And that's going to give you the opportunity to more freely pursue not only your writing, but also your music.
Thank you. That's what I'm working on. The music. The person just invited me to try out playing bass for their band.
Wonderful.
It's a classic rock and a cover band, but they write some originals too. So
wonderful.
Look at you go, already knowing.
You
stuff, listeners. What is up with that? I love it. So thank you so much, Donna. As always, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on. I always love it.
It's always my pleasure, and I always enjoy being with you and the subjects that we talk about and the tangents that we go off on.
I love tangents.
Yes, me too. That's where the best stuff happens. So thank you so much for having me on again.
Thank you, Donna. And listeners, we love you, right, Donna? You love us.
Yes, we do.
We love you.
Thank you, listeners.
I did a weird heart. I did this heart. What is that?
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that is.
Mine still looks like it's got too many fingers, but
right here. That's crooked heart. My heart's crooked. Your heart's perfect. We love you, listeners.
Love you. Take care. Good night. Be well. See you soon.
Peace out.